my name is Yen. Thanks for coming to my talk. I just got my PhD degree from MIT Media Lab with Professor Alex Pellant, and I will be joining UT Austin as an assistant professor in information management this summer. Today, I'm going to talk about large-scale behavioral data for policymaking in tourism. We're now living in a data-rich society, hence we'll be able to make more informed and data-driven policymakings. Traditionally, to understand tourist behaviors and design policies, we rely on lab experiments and surveys. As we have this large-scale behavioral data, we'll be able to understand tourist flows, evaluate special events, and design interventions based on this large-scale mobile phone data. Today, I'm going to briefly show you 3 examples. I'm going to talk about a case study in Andorra, a small European country situated between Spain and France. The population of Andorra is about 85,000, and it attracts more than 10 million visitors annually. Roughly 80% of GDP in Andorra comes from tourism. Tourists came for skiing, bicycling, and duty-free shopping. From this mobile phone record, which is the main data sources that we rely on today, we can get 2 types of information. Phone communications, which enable us to construct a social network, and geolocations, so that we can understand the flows and distribution of tourists. First, we can use this data to understand tourism flows, specifically how tourists move in Andorra. These 5 circles correspond to different cities, and this square is the main street, which is about 2 kilometers, where individuals travel to these places for shopping. Orange and purple dots here correspond to Spanish and French, and gray dots correspond to tourists from other countries. So from this type of visualizations, we can understand how do people flow in Andorra, and we can do this type of analysis for different events. For example, what you see now is Tour de France. We can also use this to understand the congestion of Andorra. The redder areas are more congested. We can also use this type of data to evaluate special events. Every year, tourism department organizes a lot of events to attract tourists. This is an example where I compare the performance of 5 summer events. One of them is a cultural event, Cirque du Soleil, colored in orange, and the other 4 are all bicycle events. The 5 indicators that we capture here are tourist dates to evaluate the popularity of event, new tourists to evaluate the marketing strategies, ratio of tourists centered in periphery or the center of Andorra. This can capture whether the tourists explore different regions of Andorra, and high disposable income tourists used as a proxy for the revenue. And the last one is peak congestion, which is the negative externality caused by tourism event. These 4 metrics, the outer they are, the better the performance. And for peak congestion, the inner they are, the better the performance. So as you can see, Cirque du Soleil performed less well compared to other events because it mostly centered at the inner part, while this UCI Trail Master World Championship colored in green and this Tour of Spain colored in yellow performed relatively well in popularity and their marketing strategy. The last example is related to marketing strategies and encouraging behavioral change. And I want to understand how does social influence spread over communication network so that we can utilize this information to design marketing campaign strategies. We first identify a set of initial adopters and we trace out their phone communication so that we can have this influence cascade. In the end, we evaluate the future adoption decisions. We found that social influence can spread to more than 3 degrees of separation via phone communications. And with this, we can design some marketing strategies where we should not only look at one's immediate neighbors, but we should go beyond and look at 3 degrees of separation. So with this information, we can design optimal marketing strategies to leverage behavioral change. In this short presentation, I show you 3 applications using mobile phone data for tourism analytics. First, we see how can we use mobile phone data to understand the spatial distribution of tourist flows in high spatial and temporal resolution. And second, I show that we can use mobile phone data to understand different aspects of events so that the tourism department can improve the planning and operation of some tourist events correspondingly. Lastly, I show that we can use mobile phone data data to understand social influence among individuals so that we can leverage this information for optimal interventions for marketing campaigns and behavioral change. Thank you for your attention.